Hello and welcome to another Dawn and Julia Create. I'm excited about this one. I chose this one, yay! But Dawn and I seem to be on each other's creative wavelength all the time. We seem to get the same ideas, we think the same things, we craft with the same things, but our results are always so different. Sorry, the cat's scratching at the door. Typical troublemaker. Anyway, so we have decided that we are going to combine two of our ranges that are very, very similar. The Seaside Treasures along with the Swashbuckling Sweethearts. And we are going to make something today with an anchor theme. Are you going to say hello after causing trouble? Are you? Shall we start to craft? Shall we just start crafting? Yeah, let's just start crafting. So I have decided to work in my Junk and Disorderly journal today. I have not worked in this one for years, so I had a little flick through. I think this journal is almost finished, which is why I decided that I would go for it, but we've just got the occasional blank page there, like you can see. So I'm taking it out of the journal. I have to say I do like deconstructed style journals for this, the fact you can take a page out, work on it and then put it back in. Now I want to build up the background, and I am going to do that by getting some text down. So this is all kind of going to be a subtle nod in the background once the project is finished. So I have my book. I think I have this book on Kindle as well. And it was one of those ones that I bought for like 99p forever ago. So this is my standard book that I pull out north and south if you're interested. I love that story. It's a great story. Not the north and south with the wars, but the north and south that was set in England with the milling community. Anyway, we digress. We're supposed to be crafting, but you get inspiration from all sorts of places. So yeah, I'm just sort of moving this around till I get a sort of composition that I like, and as I said, it is just sort of covering the page, and at this point I am just kind of gluing it down with the standard Nouveau glue, because I'm going to be putting gesso down later. So I fussy cut out all of Dawn's little anchors from her paper, and I've glued them down, and then I am just getting clear gesso and I am gessoing over the whole thing. Now Dawn's paper has got a beautiful silk finish to it, and the paper from the book is like a cheap yellowy paper that doesn't take ink well. Actually the silk paper doesn't take ink overly well either, but the fact that we can gesso it, what we've done is unified all the surfaces, so the fact that we're working with different papers doesn't matter because we've put that layer of gesso over, and the gesso, especially with the Liquitex, tends to give the paper a tooth as well, which will help to take the mediums. I like to add a little bit of white gesso as well. I just tend to find when you've taken book pages and various elements together, they can look a little bit disjointed, and they can look, you know, basically like scrap paper thrown on a page, which is essentially what it is. But I find putting white over the edges just helps to bring it together. As you can see, the next thing I got out is my gorgeous texture paste. Look at that, it's just lush. This is the Pretty Gets Gritty texture paste, and honestly it's my favourite. I find this an essential, and also the marble paste. So I just put some circle shapes down, and then I left that to dry. Once dry, I pulled out my watercolours. These are Decadent Pies by Prima Watercolor. Now in my head, because we're kind of going under the sea, I wanted the colours to be under the sea. So I wanted these blues and greens, but I also kind of wanted a rustic patina, not particularly that I was wanting to go for a patina effect, but I was wanting to have that sort of vibe as well. So I also wanted to add in some rust and brown tones, but kind of keep them separate. So in the centre we were going with like under the sea colours, but then we've kind of got the rust tones kind of poking out from the edges. So I gradually built up the layers of this with the various colours, and just sort of keep working it, allowing it to move. So I add water there just to get the movement, but I didn't want those sort of direct lines, so I kind of sprayed and just kept moving the paint until it all looked very loose and organic. I didn't, as I said, I wanted the centre bit to look like under the sea, so I kind of reaffirmed that by adding a bit more blue and green to the centre. Whilst that is drying, I am cutting out a anchor die. So this is from my die set, Anchors Away, and it's an incredibly useful set. And again, as I mentioned, I am doing a patina. So you can create a patina look with any mediums. I am doing this with my Copic markers. I've basically got out some rust colours and some blue-green colours, and I'm just putting it down. It doesn't matter that it's not blending beautiful and that it looks patchy, because rust tends to be patchy by nature anyway. So once I've got that, all the colours down, I blend that together using a grey and sort of bringing it together, and that is going to be my main feature anchor for our anchor themed project. And I wanted you to be able to see one of my anchors and one of Dawn's anchors in the main embellishments. So we've got her little anchor in front of Lady Hook, and we've got the die cut anchor behind, and then I've got other various die cuts and stamps from the Swashbuckling Sweethearts collection, and I'm just sort of gradually pulling things together and trying to make a bit of a composition that I would like. So I am just doing that now, moving these little bubble details, and I'm just kind of tearing into the die cut as well, so you don't have to use them as a whole. And this little compass one, I decided to add a bit of colour to it, so I've used a grey and a brown Copic just to help that sort of stand out. And that is that there. So I'm just going to glue that all together, and bish bash bosh, we are done. And now we need to do some shadowing. So again, I'm going to stick with the colours that I was using in the background, and I want the kind of rusty colours to the corners and the bottom, but I still want to stick with blue. So we're actually doing our shadowing with two different sorts of colours here. We are going with the rust tones at the base for the grounding, kind of like the bottom of the ocean. Why Lady Hook would be at the bottom of the ocean, I don't know, but there you go, it's Fantasyland. We can do whatever we want, we can breathe underwater. And I'm using the blue colours just to add the shadowing around the images, and as I said, that's because we're at the bottom of the sea, apparently. Yeah, so again, just building this up, and instead of pulling out my Inktense pencils like I normally do, I'm sticking with the same watercolours that we did the background with in the first place, just to make it cohesive and add a bit of unity. For some reason you needed to see the top of my head there. Hadn't noticed that in the editing stage, sorry about that. Never mind. And you can see how lovely grey my hair is and how I really need to get it done. And so yeah, just building this up so it's really nice and dark in that corner, and then I felt that looked a little bit uneven, so I wanted to darken up the opposite corner as well, so it looks like it is nicely framed. Now I am going to use one of Dawn's sentiments, and Dawn is going to guess that I'm going to use one of her sentiments because she knows I love them, and as I am not cruel, I will let her have that victory. I will not deliberately go out of my way in order to make sure that she's not right. You can have this, Dawn, you can have this win, because I love you that much. And if you're wondering what that's about, do check out the last Dawn and Julia create. So I'm just edging it now. This is it all here. I hope you have enjoyed that, and if you would like some more watercolour inspiration, you may want to check out this video here, and don't forget to go and see what our lovely Dawn has created this week too.